Many New Yorkers were outraged after seeing those infamous videotaped confessions. It was said the boys were having fun and wilding. For many, it was an open and shut case. Or was it? To this day, many people remain puzzled. Why would anyone ever admit to committing a crime if they had nothing to do with it?
When you got on top of her, you had your penis out of your pants?
Yes.
And it was between her legs?
No.
It was against her?
Yeah.
And did you rub against her?
Yeah.
Did you have an erection?
No.
How long did you do that for?
I don't know.
I can never understand why people confess to things, such specific things, and name their friends and name their cohorts. I can understand how jurors could not understand how people can just confess to things they didn't do.
Michael Myers is the executive director of the New York Civil Rights Coalition.
They confessed. There are police officers who still to this day believe that they were guilty of something.
The written and videotaped confessions by the teens were riveting, infuriating, damning, but they were not all accurate. For example, Corey Wise gave 4 contradicting statements. In one, he said he saw one of the teens stab the Central Park jogger with a knife.
Before they left, Wesley pulled out his knife and cut her legs up, cut her up.
What did he do to cut her up?
Huh? They pulled out and just started cut her legs up, his chest, whatever. I didn't really see it.
You didn't see him do that?
No, but I just seen how he was swinging. I seen the knife go over the head and see him swing. And I know when that she was knocked out, she had to wake up from that stab.
Tricia Miley was not stabbed.
There are no knife wounds. Nothing was cut with a knife. That's a fairly sizable mistake. I would say, get over it. The Central Park jogger case is one of hundreds of recent cases we're now learning about.
Dr. Saul Casson is a professor of psychology at John Jay College and has extensively studied the jogger case. He says the teen's statements to police are a textbook example of false confessions.
I'm one of those Americans and New Yorkers that believed it sealed the deal too in 1989. And was shocked in 2002 to find out that this case was out in the news again. How does it happen is the $64,000 question.
I grabbed one arm, this other kid grabbed one arm, and he grabbed her legs and stuff. And then he like, Washington was getting on her.
Could you stand up and just sort of show me how he pushed her?
Like they running her. So like he pushed her, but he still had a blouse. When he pushed her, he ripped her blouse off. She fell on the floor.
Can you really blame the jury system? Can you really blame the jurors for coming in with a guilty verdict?
But what the jury didn't get to see, what a judge didn't get to see, what the public didn't get to see, were the hours of interrogation that preceded those statements. They didn't get to see whatever the techniques were that brought these boys from a state of denial to a state of confession. They didn't see Corey Wise being shown photographs of the victim. They didn't necessarily see what happened when Corey Wise and Kevin Richardson were taken to the crime scene so that they could actually see where it occurred and provide facts now that can be incorporated into a confession.
I tried to get up and just hit her, kept on hitting her.
Hitting her to keep her down?
Yeah.
You really don't know what went on behind the scenes. Statements can be coerced. And it happens to a lot of people. And it's a method, the way they do things.
What you don't fully realize as the viewer is that was preceded by somewhere between 14 and 30 hours of interrogation. When people are innocent, they fundamentally at their core believe everything will work itself out in the end. They'll realize I didn't do it. The evidence will come in, they see it wasn't me. And so in a funny way, what you often hear from these innocent people who had confessed, and you ask them, well, why in God's name did you do that? They say, you know what, I was tired, I was exhausted, I wanted this to stop, and I figured they would realize I'm innocent when the evidence came in.
Lawyers for the city take issue with the idea of false confessions in this case. They cite a 2003 report to the police commissioner on the Central Park jogger case that found, quote, the parents or family members to Santana, McRae, and Richardson were present during all of their interrogations and the giving of written and video statements. The report also noted, quote, The criminal court's decision that the confessions were voluntary and should be admitted as evidence was upheld on appeal. Appellate courts affirmed that the police and prosecutors had probable cause and that the confessions were not coerced. In an exclusive interview with New York One in 2007, Tricia Miley said she had no memory of the attack, but no reason to disagree with the city's findings.
One of the guys, when asked about a scratch that he had on his cheek, where did that come from? He referred to me before I was ever found. And so, you know, that's always made me wonder, well, wait a minute, you know, who gave you that scratch? Well, that lady did it. What lady?
Yusef Salam is now a computer specialist with 4 daughters, and he says he empathizes with Tricia Miley.
She wasn't just victimized because she was raped. That was the worst thing that could happen. But she was also victimized because that same false story continued to be told to her years and years and years later, that those were the guys, these are the real perpetrators, these are the ones that did this to you. When in reality, and in fact, we hadn't done anything to her. Our crime was we were people of color.
Salam says he'd like to meet Tricia Miley someday.
I think I would be at a loss for words. I think if I could, I would probably, I don't know if she would allow us to do this, but I probably would hug her because it's such a sad thing that happened to her.
New York One reached out to Tricia Miley for comment. She did not return our calls. Next, on Case Not Closed, lawyers for the Central Park Five are back in court, this time preparing for a possible civil trial. Will those confessions help or hurt their case?